E.N.D here. The Lost Caverns of Ixalan gave us a new mechanic, ideal to uncover the secrets hidden down in the plane. Discover. Discover is a keyword action introduced as said in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. To discover means exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value the discover number or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost or put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Discover is a revamped version of Cascade with more design space. Instead of being a cast trigger, it's a keyword action that always comes with a value. To avoid whiffing on something like a counter spell, there is now a choice to cast the spell or simply put it into your hand. Then put the other exile cards on the bottom of your library. But how do you play Discover? Let's build our battlefield. Let's put our library in play. Let's put it there. Now I'm going to cast Geological Appraiser 2 and 2 red. It's a 3/2. Enters the battlefield if you cast it Discover 3. Geological Appraiser, it's a normal creature spell. Therefore, when casted, it will go on the stack. There can be a counter, there can be a response, nothing happens, and it will hit the battlefield. As Geological Appraiser enter the battlefield, I will Discover 3, meaning that I will exile cards from the top of my library until I exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less. 3 because Geological Appraiser has Discover 3. First card, it's a land. Second card, Agent of Treachery, a 7-drop, nothing. Third card, Smuggler's Copter. Okay, this is good for our Discover 3. The Discover mechanic will give me two options. I can cast my Smuggler Copter without paying its mana cost, or I can put it into my hand. In my case, I'm going to cast it. When you cast a spell that you discovered, will always go on the stack. There can be a counter, there can be a response, nothing happens, and it will hit the battlefield. Don't forget that the exile cards will go back on the bottom of your library in random order. Second scenario, I'm going to cast Hit the Mother Lode 4 and 3 red, Discover 10. If the discovered card mana value is less than 10, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the difference. A sorcery with Discover is a normal sorcery spell, therefore when casted it will go on the stack. There can be a counter, there can be a response, nothing happens, and Hit the Mother Lode will resolve. As Hit the Mother Lode resolved, I will Discover 10. Now it would be good if we hit that Agent of Treachery. First card, a land, nothing. Second card, it's also a land, so nothing. Third card, it's a creature, it's Galta, but Galta is a 12-drop, so also nothing. Fourth card, saw it coming, it's an instant, it's a counter spell. Now, as always, to discover, give you two options. I can cast the spell or I can put it into my hand. I don't have nothing to counter, therefore I'm going to choose that I will put Saw It Coming in my hand. Don't forget that the exile cards will go back on the bottom of your library in random order. Some notes. You always have the choice to put your card in your hand. Irrelevant if it's a creature, an artifact, an enchantment, a placewalker, an instant, a sorcery, etc, etc. Contrary to Cascade, to discover, the spell has to resolve, not only cast it. Therefore, if you cast a spell with Discover and gets countered, you will not discover. With Cascade, you can. Discover is mandatory. You must exile cards from the top of your library even if you know that you won't exile anything that you can cast. Since Discover is a triggered ability, anything that interacts with a triggered ability, like Stifle, will interact. All players can see the cards you exile as the Discover ability resolves. A spell cast as part of the resolution of Discover is cast from exile, not from your library. Abilities that prohibit you from casting cards from your library will not, and I will repeat, will not stop you from casting a card with the Discover ability. Perfect for the Planeswalker Quintorius Kand. If you cast a card without paying its mana cost, you can't pay any alternative cost, such as Evoke or the alternative cost provided by the Morph ability. If it has X in its mana cost, X must be 0. However, you can pay optional additional costs, such as Conspire, and you must still pay mandatory additional costs. A card cast with Discover behaves like any other spell. It can be countered. If you cast a spell with Discover and there are no non-land cards in your library with lesser mana value, you'll exile your entire library. Then you randomly rearrange those cards and put them back as your library. Although you are essentially shuffling those cards, you're not technically doing so. Abilities that trigger whenever you shuffle your library won't trigger. So this is how you play Discover. Leave me a comment. What do you think about this new mechanic? I think it's perfectly fitted for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. As always, subscribe for my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.